Alright guys, I am not talking about Nashville, although it has some good country music. We're not talking about Seattle, although the grunge scene there was fantastic back in the day. I mean, who doesn't like a little bit of Nirvana, right? Kurt Cobain, way before his time. I'm talking about Detroit Rock City. Metro Detroit has one of the best music scenes on the planet, and yep, we are home to Eminem, we're home to Madonna, and we're home to Jack White, and of course, George Clinton and the Parliament Funkadelic. Not only that, but EDM, Techno was invented right here in the Motor City, as well as MoTown with the Temptations, to name just a few. We've got Aretha Franklin, so of course we've got some of the best music venues on the planet. We have some of the most iconic venues around, dating back for centuries of entertainment, some of the biggest names in the business to take the stage here in Metro Detroit, and they don't call it Detroit Rock City for nothing. In this video, I'm divvying up the top music venues in Metro Detroit. We're going to be talking about history and architecture and top performances that have happened through the years, everything. If this is your first time here, my name is Mike Perna. I am your go-to real estate agent in Metro Detroit with over 3,000 five-star reviews, and I'd be honored to help you when you are ready to buy a home or sell a home. Also, we drop new videos each and every week, so don't forget to subscribe. We've got some cool ones planned for 2025, so get ready. Now let's get to the venues. All right, first up, one of my favorite places, we're starting with the Fillmore, Detroit, one of the crown jewels of Detroit's entertainment scene. Located at 2115 Woodward Avenue in the heart of Detroit's theater district. By the way, little known fact, other than Broadway itself in New York, we have more theater and more venue seating than anywhere else in the United States. That's how cool Detroit is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, sir. So this was designed by renowned architect C. Howard Crane in the Renaissance Revival style, and also known as the Francis Palms Building. Over its nearly 100-year history, the Fillmore Detroit has undergone a couple transformations. It opened as the State Theatre in 1925. It will always be the State to me. It was renamed the Palm State Theatre in 1937, and then reverted to just the Palms Theatre in 1949, and then returned back to the State Theatre designation in 1982. Now in 2007, Live Nation acquired the venue and rebranded it as the Fillmore Detroit, aligning with the iconic Fillmore brand. And in 2018, it underwent significant renovations, including the restoration of its original murals, the installation of a new chandelier in the main lobby, which is a very cool chandelier, by the way, scope this thing out, and upgrades to the bar, because who doesn't like an upgraded bar, and seating areas. The Fillmore's architecture showcases the Renaissance Revival style with a stately 12-story terracotta facade, or facade, or facade, or I don't know how to pronounce that word. Inside the venue boasts an 80-foot ceiling, original chandeliers, intricate plasterwork, creating a stunning setting that blends the early 20th century elegance with modern entertainment. The grand foyer connects the Corinthian columns to and a barrel vaulted ceiling, providing a visual spectacle as soon as you step through the doors. The Fillmore Detroit has hosted a wide array of legendary performances and continues to be a top destination for national and international acts across various genres. It has a capacity of 2,900, offering both reserved seating and an intimate concert experience. And what do I mean by intimate? I mean, when this thing sells out, everybody's like shoulder to shoulder on the floor, and it kind of sucks, which is why you go with the reserved seating, my friends. With the exception when like some smaller acts come, but some good ones. The last one I saw there actually was Blues Traveler. I picked up tickets for $17. Yes, I bought a ticket to a show for $17. That's how cool Detroit is. For less than 20 bucks, you can get in to see a show. Not all shows. I mean, like AC/DC is like 300 bucks at Ford Field this year, right? But I went down, had a blast seeing a throwback to the 90s. I don't even want to say band. Is Blues Traveler a band? Or is it really just John Popper and a harmonica? I don't know. Who knows? All right. It was recognized as a National Historic Landmark. The venue remains to this day a testament to Detroit's cultural legacy and, of course, architectural grandeur. Don't forget, guys, there's a lot of money floating around Detroit in the first half of the last century. Like the automotive business, General Motors, Ford, Chrysler, like they were putting a lot of dollars into the city at that time. Next up, I've got the Masonic Temple in Detroit. Now let's head over to a venue that redefines the word grand, the Detroit Masonic Temple. The Masonic, which is located at 500 Temple Street, is renowned as the world's largest Masonic temple and stands as one of the city's most significant cultural landmarks. Construction actually began on Thanksgiving Day in 1920. I don't know how they got people working on Thanksgiving Day, but they did. And the cornerstone was laid in 1922. What that means is it was finished in 1922. 2 years. It only took 2 years to build that. And that's a theme you're going to see in this, because a lot of these venues only took 2 years, which is amazing and impressive by anybody's standard. Now, using the same trowel that George Washington used for the U.S. Capitol's cornerstone, The temple was dedicated on Thanksgiving Day in 1926 and has since become a vital part of Detroit history. Designed by George D. Mason, not a Masonist, but Mason, the temple is a neo-Gothic masterpiece faced with Indiana limestone. The complex includes a 16-story ritual building, a 10-story wing originally for the Shriners, and a 7-story auditorium building. The interior features intricately designed rooms such as the 1,586-seat Scottish Rite Cathedral, the 17,500 square foot drill hall with a floating floor, and 2 grand ballrooms, the Crystal Ballroom and the Fountain Ballroom. So the Masonic Temple is a place where I definitely catch a show each and every year. They've got some really cool acts that come through. A lot of them are smaller and lesser known, like a Lane 8, for example. Lane 8, I saw there, he was fantastic. Again, more along the EDM, techno scene. But even more importantly is my not-to-be-missed yearly ritual of going to Theater Bazaar, where they take all 8 levels of the Masonic Temple and they turn it into a gigantic, the biggest Halloween party in Detroit, period, spanning 2 weekends. There's actually even a haunted train. It's pretty cool. Okay, so this building is also home to 7 craft lodge rooms, each uniquely decorated in styles like Egyptian and Doric and Byzantine. Many of the interior stone and metal were designed by sculptor Corrado Perducci, and the 3 figures over the main entrance were created by Leo Friedlander. And the Masonic Temple has hosted such world-class acts and events like Duke Ellington, Prince, and of course Nina Simone. To this day, one of my favorites. Of course, she did the song Sinner Man, and of course, I put a spell on you. Okay, that's actually what she sounds like if you have not listened to Nina Simone. She's amazing. And of course, the Rolling Stones, because why wouldn't the Rolling Stones play here? Spanning over 12 million cubic feet of space, the temple houses 1,037 rooms, including a chapel, dining areas, a swimming pool, and a bowling alley. It has breathtaking architecture and a rich cultural history. The Detroit Masonic Temple continues to be a beacon of history and entertainment in the city proper. Next, we're shifting gears into something a little bit smaller, more intimate, and that is going to be Cliff Bell's. So that's tucked away over at 2030 Park Avenue. It's a jazz club that is really one of the true gems in Detroit's music scene that's steeped in history and celebrated for its Art Deco design. It was founded in 1935 by John Clifford Bell. This club quickly became the cornerstone of Detroit's vibrant nightlife during the swing era, while it changed hands and names over the decades, even opening as AJ's on the Park, which there's no park there. It eventually closed in 1985. After 20 years of being closed and shut down and just left to decay, it was restored and reopened in 2006 under the original name, Cliff Bell's. Cliff Bell's Art Deco design also features original mahogany dating all the way back to 1935 and original brass fixtures, elegant lighting, and a curved bar that goes all the way back to its 1930s origin. The early 2000s restoration that was undergone ensured that every detail honored the club's historic charm. Now, over the years, Cliff Bell's has hosted a wide variety of jazz musicians, including the acclaimed bassist Marcus Miller. It's also known as a venue for the Moth storytelling events, showcasing its versatility in Detroit's cultural scene. Situated in the Park Avenue Historic District, that's why it's called On the Park. There is no park. Got it. Cliff Bell's is more than a music venue, it's a living piece of Detroit's history. Its timeless design even caught the attention of Hollywood, with its interior featured in the film The Ides of March. Cool film, by the way. Today, Cliff Bell's continues to offer the live jazz performances along with a dining experience that really reflects the elegance of its storied past. This is a really cool spot. Next up, we're heading out of the city, way deep into the suburbs, to Clarkston, Michigan, to Bob Seger Drive, and I'm talking about the Pine Knob Music Theater. This outdoor amphitheater is Michigan's summer staple, one of the most iconic live music venues in the region. First opened June 25th, 1972 with a live performance by then teen idol David Cassidy. My mother would have loved that. Me, not so much, but my mother, of course. Over the decades, it's undergone a ton of transformations. It was acquired by Palace Sports and Entertainment in 1990, underwent renovations to enhance the concert experience. From 2001 to 2022, it was unfortunately and mistakenly known as the DTE Energy Music Theater. If you ever see me talk about this in any of my videos, I denounce and I renounce the naming of it to the DTE Energy Music Theater, which is bleh, bleh. That's all I gotta say. I'm gonna throw up in a bucket if I gotta keep talking about it. But fans celebrated when its original name was restored in 22 during the 50th anniversary. And yes, thank you so much. I want to do a shout out to UWM, United Wholesale Mortgage, which bought the naming rights and then renamed it back to Pine Knob. That was so cool. So Pine Knob features a covered pavilion with 6,968 seats with a sprawling lawn area accommodating an additional 8,000 people. So they're pushing pretty close to 15,000 people, actually a little bit more. Brings its total capacity of 15,040 people, although I feel like they've actually squeezed more into that. I feel like that capacity has been like overly maxed through the years with how many times I've been like kind of crushed down in the pit area. But maybe it's just because I like going to the pit area. Who knows? Thoughts for another day. Now, a cool thing about Pine Knob is not only is it a music venue, but it's a ski resort, so the venue actually harmonizes with the natural surroundings, offering scenic views and an intimate atmosphere for concert goers. Over the years, Pine Knob has hosted a diverse array of artists and events, including Bob Seger. Of course, he would have been there. It's literally on Bob Seger Drive, who's also from Detroit, by the way, guys. Bob Seger from Detroit. True story. That's another one to add to the list. I should have mentioned at the beginning of this video. Oh, the other thing that I did mention at the beginning of the video, but you should probably do right now, is subscribe to the video and like the video. In addition to that, it's also seen people like Aerosmith and the Grateful Dead, as hosted festivals like Ozfest, Lollapalooza. Its enduring popularity reflects its deep connection to Michigan's cultural landscape. Pine Knob Music Theater continues to draw fans from across the region with a blend of world-class performances and nostalgic ambience that makes it one of the most beloved concert venues in the state. Now, drop in the comments below your favorite concert from Pine Knob. I'll put mine in. I'm just gonna say mine right now. So I got to see 21 Pilots at Pine Knob back in, gosh, I don't even remember, 16, 17, 18, 14, 15, 13, 19, one of the teens that was like pre-pandemic, right? And these dudes, it's only two dudes, by the way. If you're not familiar with 21 Pilots, only two dudes. Used to be a bigger band of like 5, and they were a Christian rock band out of Ohio, but then as they dropped the Christian part of it and just went straight into rock, a bunch of members ended up leaving. Go figure. But what they will do is they'll actually get onto platforms and crowd surf and play on top of the crowd. It's actually a pretty cool spectacle. These guys are true showmen, like true showmanship. They're pretty fantastic. Next up, we're going to be talking about the Majestic Theatre. Now, we're back in the city of Detroit. The Majestic Theatre is over at 4120 Woodward Avenue. It's a venue with a really fascinating history. So it's in Detroit, of course. It's a historic venue, and it's celebrated for its architectural beauty and significant role in Detroit's entertainment. So it opened on April 1st, way back in 1915. It was one of the first actual venues opened. It was designed by architect C. Howard Crane. We're going to see that name come back over and over. And the Majestic was originally the world's largest theater, built specifically for showing movies, with a seating capacity of 1,651, which feels really small by today's standard. In 1934, the theater's facade, we'll go with that, was redesigned in the Art Deco style by the architectural firm Bennett and Straight, following the removal of 35 feet of its front to accommodate the widening of Woodward Avenue. And if you go down Woodward today, it is actually a pretty wide road. True story. This redesign introduced Detroit to the largest enameled metal Art Deco facade in the metropolitan area. Now, it stopped operating as a cinema in the late 50s. The Majestic served just a ton of purposes, various purposes, before falling into disuse. It was purchased in 1984 after over a decade of just being vacant, and then reopened as a concert venue in 1987 after a pretty major restoration. Today, it's part of the Majestic Theatre Center, which includes the Garden Bowl, which is also the oldest bowling alley in Michigan, the oldest continuously running bowling alley, let me put it that way, the Majestic Cafe, and the Magic Stick. The Majestic has hosted countless memorable performances such as Black Keys, Sheryl Crow, and Dr. John. Although myths persist that magician Harry Houdini gave his final performance at the Majestic, records show this actually occurred at the Garrick Theater. In 2008, the Majestic was added to the National Register of Historic Places, cementing its legacy as a Detroit landmark and pretty much guaranteeing it's never going to be knocked down. I will say this, my favorite memory at the Majestic, I almost saw They Might Be Giants. So what had happened was I bought tickets from StubHub online. Apparently the tickets were forged tickets. They were just selling the same ticket over and over and over. I did get my money back. Thank you, StubHub. I love your fan protect guarantee. That is good on you. But I ended up actually standing outside the door, and every time the door would open, I would literally see straight in and see They Might Be Giants, but I couldn't actually go into the venue because I didn't have a ticket. Still, overall, great show. Birdcage in your soul. Great show. Come on. Not Istanbul, Constantinople. Next up, we're going to be talking about the Magic Stick. Speaking of the Majestic Theatre Center, we may as well talk about it because it's located above the Majestic Theatre. Originally opened in the early 1990s, the owners transformed a portion of the second floor of the Majestic's bowling alley into a vibrant space featuring pool tables and a dance floor. By the mid-90s, the remaining bowling lanes were removed upstairs, they're only downstairs now, expanding the dance floor and solidifying the Magic Stick's reputation as a cornerstone for alternative rock, electronic music, and Detroit's garage rock scene, which Detroit actually had a pretty good garage rock scene. In 2015, the venue underwent massive renovations that modernized its sound and lighting systems, expanded the stage, and introduced a VIP area. The Magic Stick has been home to a lot of legendary performances, including the White Stripes, Modest Mouse, and Kings of Leon. All three of those I've seen, and not there actually. With a capacity of only 700 people, it is a small and intimate atmosphere that attracts both emerging artists but also established artists and allow them on the, on the backside of their career maybe, right? Maybe. From his humble beginnings as a converted bowling alley to his current status as a must-visit destination for live music, the Magic Stick remains a vital part of Detroit's cultural landscape. Next up, we're going to be talking about the Michigan Lottery Amphitheatre at Freedom Hill. We're taking off to Sterling Heights for the longest named theater, which, we're just going to call it Freedom Hill, right? So the full name is actually the Michigan Lottery Amphitheatre at Freedom Hill, but commonly and locally known as Freedom Hill. So this popular outdoor venue, it's a blend of entertainment with scenic surroundings similar to, but not quite as impressively done as Pine Knob, partly because it's much newer than Pine Knob. It's in a 120-acre Freedom Hill County Park, first made its mark in 1980 with the Independence Day Praise Festival, a celebration of Christian rock music. Who would have thought that Freedom Hill would have opened with Christian rock music? Now, it's hosted events like the Freedom Hill Blues Festival and countless concerts by renowned artists. Significant renovations in 2012 upgraded its sound, lighting, visual systems, and the overall concert experience, redoing all the way down to the concrete. It's actually a really cool venue now. The amphitheater features a semicircular seating arrangement with excellent sight lines from every angle with a capacity for a couple thousand people. It has both reserved seating and a spacious lawn area for general admission. Like I said, it's like a mini Pine Knob. It's like Pine Knob, mini Pine Knob. There's actually another mini Pine Knob on this list too. If you can guess it before I get to it, throw it in the comments. Performers like Post Malone, Flogging Molly, and Glass Animals has graced the stage, contributing to its status as a premier concert destination. Again, surrounded by natural beauty and equipped with modern amenities, the Michigan Lottery Amphitheatre at Freedom Hill. They gotta come up with a new name, guys. Let's throw some name suggestions in the comment section. Let's get that going. And then also throw your favorite venue and your favorite concert ever in the chat as well. I wanna know that as well. I'm gonna tell you right now, my favorite concert at Freedom Hill, we're just gonna call it Freedom Hill. I actually bought a $25 ticket, I wanna say this is back in 2018, to go see a little known band called Sublime. Of course, the lead singer of Sublime had passed decades previous, right? Or at least, about a decade and a half previous at that point. Maybe a little less. They actually only put out like one album with the original lead singer, but it was Sublime with Rome, which has been touring for ever. And they make a yearly pilgrimage to Detroit and a yearly pilgrimage to Freedom Hill. Much like 311, by the way. They're here at Freedom Hill every single year. Anyway, I digress. So, I got there in time for the opening band and I was just shocked. It was a double lead singer, so one guy with real nice vocals, one guy kind of rapping, and if you can guess it, if you know, you know, it was the Dirty Heads. It was the Dirty Heads, and I saw them in a crowd of like 200 people. It was amazing. I was like, oh my God, these guys are gonna be bigger than Sublime, and they were, clearly. Next up, we're gonna be talking about the Magic Bag. So the Magic Bag is located at 22920 Woodward Avenue in Ferndale, or as the cool kids call it, the Fern. This is a historic entertainment venue which is known for its unique blend of live music and film screenings and community events. Originally, this guy opened all the way back in 1921 as the Ferndale Theatre, and then it transitioned to show independent and art house films in the 60s. By the mid-70s, it shifted over to adult films, right? Maybe a little controversial part of its history, which ended with its closure in 1989. In 1991, the venue was reborn as the Magic Bag, thanks to extensive renovations by Sam Milgram. Today, the Magic Bag features a tiered admission layout, full-service bar, classic marquee that's become kind of a Ferndale landmark. It's hosted artists like the Black Keys and Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings, which, by the way, Sharon Jones, oh my God, her voice. I literally just found out about her not a month past. And so sad, she passed away from cancer. She fought it, won, it came back, lost. But seriously, if you get a chance, her belting out anything. And also there was a movie made about her. And in the movie, and she's in her own movie, there's a point where she's just singing and she's walking up these church steps and then she's in with this congregation and the congregation is just like enamored with her and they're dancing. Oh, amazing movie about her life. Anyway, and Patti Smith. I don't know who Patti Smith is. As well as comedy shows and a signature brew and view film event, which is where you like grab a brew and then you view a film like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, as an example, because they played that recently. With a max capacity of approximately 300, the venue remains a central fixture in Ferndale's vibrant cultural scene. One band that I actually did see here is one out of, I want to say they're from New York. That sounds right. I saw these guys by accident too. They were opening, I forgot who, but they were at the State Theater. And then a couple years later, they came to the Magic Bag. And that little known band is called Too Many Zoos. Check it out. They do a really cool music video. It's on YouTube. And it's literally a 4-minute song, one take. They went onto the subway in New York. They started the video off the subway, got on the subway, then got back off the subway, all done in one take, then all impromptu. Didn't like ask asking the train riders if they wanted to be or not wanted to be in the video. They literally just made a music video. It's pretty cool, actually. Next up, I've got Baker's Keyboard Lounge. Jazz lovers, this one's for you. Now, Baker's is located over at 2510 Livernois Avenue in Detroit. Not too far south of 8 Mile, by the way. Kind of over just south and slightly east of Ferndale. So Baker's is celebrated as the world's oldest continually operating jazz club in the world. I already said as the world's, but I want to put a finer point on that, in the world. It was established in 1933 by Chris and Fannie Baker. The venue started as a sandwich shop, and then it evolved into a haven for jazz lovers. Like literally went from like sandwiches, and then they had like a jazz guy and people liked it, so they brought more jazz guys in, and then people liked it more, and so they just kept bringing them in, and eventually they stopped serving sandwiches. So Clarence Baker, their son, began booking the jazz pianist in 1934, transforming the space into a thriving jazz club. Now in the 50s, Clarence added Art Deco touches, including the iconic piano-shaped bar, which became its signature feature. Over the decades, Baker's has hosted legendary musicians like Louis Armstrong and Miles Davis, Ella Fitzgerald, another one of my favorites, Ella and Nina Simone. Ella Fitzgerald, Nina Simone. If I had a DeLorean with a flux capacitor and I could go back in time, those two actually played together, I believe, exactly one time. I could be wrong, but at least I heard them playing together one time. I would go to that show. 100%. That was the show I would go see. And then, of course, Billie Holiday. Its intimate setting with just 99 seats total is an unparalleled experience for jazz enthusiasts. In 1986, Baker's was designated a historic site by the Michigan State Historic Preservation Office, and in 2016 got its official historic landmark status from the city of Detroit. With its rich history and timeless ambiance, Baker's Keyboard Lounge continues to be a cornerstone of Detroit's jazz heritage. In fact, I went there not too long ago, and it was pretty fantastic. Also, get the ribs. They're delightful. Okay, next up, we're going to be talking about St. Andrew's Hall, which is located at 431 East Congress Street in Detroit. And yeah, I got a tradition that goes along with this one as well. This historic venue has evolved from a Scottish cultural hub to a legendary music space. It was built in 1907 for the St. Andrew's Society of Detroit. The hall served as a meeting place for Scottish American cultural activities until the 1980s, when it was bought and then transformed into a premier concert venue. It has a brownstone exterior with an open floor plan, very open, accommodating about 1,000 people. So St. Andrew's Hall offers an intimate setting for live performances. Over the year, they've hosted acts like Nirvana played there, guys, REM, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Don't know if that's somebody I would pay to go see, but still, cool that they were there. And you can catch literally everything from hip hop to punk rock to country shows. I mean, you don't have to go to a country show, it's there. You can do it. Nobody really wants to do it. That's okay, depending on which night that you visit. Now, my own personal tradition is across the street on the opposite corner is Pentwater. Pentwater? That sounds right, Pentwater, which has the best wings in the city of Detroit. And my go-to is I will literally get 24 wings because I'm usually, going with friends or whatnot. And then I'll also get the patty melt because their patty melt is delightful. Next up, downstairs underneath St. Andrew's Hall, you're gonna find the Shelter. Yep, that Shelter. His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. It's a revered venue known for its pivotal role in Detroit's hip-hop scene with its intimate underground vibe. The mid-90s marked a transformative era for the Shelter as it became kind of a proving ground for aspiring artists, including Detroit's own Eminem. Yes, he was there weekly. Here, he honed his craft through rap battles and performances, gaining local recognition first and setting the stage for his rise to global fame. The venue was also immortalized in the movie 8 Mile, where it served as one of the backdrops for one of the battle scenes. While the Shelter is kind of synonymous with Eminem, it's also had performances like John Mayer, All Time Low, and the Deftones. Its connection to St. Andrew's Hall underscores its role as an incubator for new talent while complementing Detroit's vibrant musical culture. All right, guys, next up, we are leaving the great city of Detroit once again, and we're heading to Royal Oak, Michigan, to the Royal Oak Music Theatre over at 318 West 4th Street. Another historic venue with a storied legacy. It opened in 1928 as the Kernsky Royal Oak. The theater was designed by the esteemed architectural firm Rap and Rap, showcasing a blend of Gothic and Art Deco styles. It originally operated as a movie theater. That seems to be an ongoing theme for a lot of these places, before transitioning into a concert venue in 1976 under the leadership of Detroit native Paul Stanley. The theater's rebirth began with a concert featuring Maria Mulder and Martin Mull. No idea who those people are. Must have been great. With a capacity of approximately 1,700, the Royal Oak Music Theatre provides an intimate setting that has hosted legendary acts like Bob Dylan and Nirvana and the White Stripes. Its ornate interior, featuring intricate moldings and rich textures, adds to its unique charm. Now managed by Worldwide Entertainment, LLC, the venue continues to offer diverse programming from concerts to Broadway productions, solidifying its place as a cultural hub in Metro Detroit. Who did I see there last? That's right, pre-pandemic was actually the last time I was at the Royal Oak Music Theatre. I saw The Used. I just happened to be downtown Royal Oak, and I looked up and I saw The Used, and I saw the date, and I was like, it's today's date. And I looked at my watch. I was like, oh my gosh, it's in half an hour. I walked up to the ticket thing and I said, hey, are there any tickets? They said, yup. I said, how much? They said $20, and for $20, I saw The Used. Great show, by the way. Great show. Highly recommend it. And of course, no list of musical or theatrical places would be complete without the iconic Fox Theatre. Located at 2211 Woodward Avenue, it stands as one of the most iconic and opulent theaters in the entire country. Since opening on September 21st, 1928, it has served as a cornerstone of Detroit's cultural landscape. Designed by renowned architect, here we go again guys, same name, C. Howard Crane, as the flagship of the Fox Theatre's chain, the Fox Theatre originally seated over 5,000 people, making it Detroit's largest theater and a marvel of its time. In 1987, the Ilitch family acquired the Fox Theatre, undertook an 18-month, $12 million restoration to return it to its original grandeur. You know what else the Ilitches own? The Tigers, who had a pretty great season this past season. And Chris Ilitch, if you're watching this video, pony up some dollars and get some more talent to that roster. That's all we need to do. We just need you to open the wallet a little bit, spend a few bucks, and then we will be a contender for the World Series once again. Chris, listen to me, buddy. Like, the Lions are amazing. I'd love to see two great teams, and we know it's not going to be the Pistons. Not anytime soon. Okay, back to the show. The Fox Theatre reopened on November 19, 1988, with a dazzling performance by Smokey Robinson and the Count Bass Orchestra. The restoration marked the beginning of a new era, solidifying the theater's reputation as a premier entertainment destination nationwide. The following year, in 1989, the Fox Theatre was designated a National Historic Landmark, recognizing its architectural and cultural significance. I'm just saying, Chris Ilitch, just spend some money on the Tigers. Just get like 4 good players. That's all I'm asking for. The Fox Theatre is celebrated for its lavish and eclectic design, which blends elements of Hindu and Siamese and Byzantine styles. Visitors are greeted by a stunning 10-story entryway and structure, and a grand lobby adorned with intricate decorations, including butterflies and lions and peacocks. The auditorium is equally breathtaking, featuring ornate details and an arch which embellishes elaborate carvings, creating a magical atmosphere for performances. You know what else would be a magical atmosphere for a performance? Comerica Park, if you went and got some good players. Over the years, the Fox Theatre has hosted a wide array of memorable events. In the 1960s, it was home to the legendary MoTown Revues, featuring an iconic artist lineup like the Temptations, the Supremes, and Smokey Robinson. In addition to his connection to Detroit's music history, the Fox Theatres welcome Broadway productions and comedy shows and concerts, continuing to attract diverse audiences from across the region. In 2024, the Fox Theatre underwent a pretty extensive renovation aimed at creating a better guest experience while preserving its historic charm. The over 5,000 seats were replaced with replicas designed to match the original 1928 aesthetics, including the same fabric and color, although hopefully a little more comfortable than the 1928 chairs. Modern features such as cup holders were added for guest convenience, along with an updated wayfinding system featuring illuminated row markers to assist people with locating their seats. Approximately 2,000 of the original seats were preserved and either donated to local nonprofits or auctioned to benefit charitable causes, ensuring that a piece of the theater's history remains with the community. Now, what the Ilitch family could do is sell the theater to free up some funds to go get some good Tigers talent for 2025. Just saying. The Fox Theatre remains a vital part of Detroit's cultural fabric. Its ongoing restoration and programming reflect a commitment to preserving its historical legacy while providing a modern comfort for its guests. Today, the Fox Theatre stands as a cherished landmark, blending its storied past with a vibrant future and continuing to serve as one of the crown jewels of Detroit's downtown renaissance. Next up is a nice, small, intimate venue that I love, which is the Willis Show Bar. It's a historical gem in Detroit's Cass Corridor, capturing the essence of a vibrant jazz club from its inception until 1949, right up until its closure in 1978. But it's been revived to its former glory. The venue now serves as a classic cocktail bar and live entertainment space, maintaining a lot of its original art modern design, including a unique floor plan and a main stage behind the bar itself. Originally opened as a hotspot for jazz, the Willis Show Bar was a playground for Detroit's movers and shakers during the glitzy mid-century era. The venue thrived until it fell into decay and decline along with the neighborhood, and was finally shut down by the city due to activities related to drugs and prostitution. Now, after nearly 40 years of abandonment, and yes, that thing was abandoned for like half a century, the bar was lovingly restored and reopened, preserving a lot of its historical elements like the curved corner facade with the oxblood and rose-colored tiles and a distinctive deco ceiling. Today, it's got a mix of musical and cabaret performances going from jazz to soul to funk to pop, along with unique DJ nights and burlesque shows. The venue is also known for its meticulously crafted cocktails and remains a hotspot for those looking to experience a slice of Detroit's historic nightlife. All right, next up, we are leaving Detroit once again, and we're going to the Meadow Amphitheatre, which is located on the campus of Oakland University. Now, this really is like a mini Pine Knob. It's an iconic venue with a rich history and diverse performances ranging from concerts to ballets. It was opened in 1964, providing a unique outdoor setting that enhances the concert-going experience. The amphitheater has a seating capacity of about 7,700, so about half a Pine Knob, making it a pretty large venue for the region for large-scale events. The venue was the summer residence for the Detroit Symphony Orchestra right up until 1991, which kind of added a little bit of a prestigious element to its repertoire. And then since then, the Meadow Amphitheater has seen performances from a variety of artists, including modern bands such as the 1975 Rex Orange Country, Band of Horses, Wilco, and Vampire Weekend, who actually just saw there not too long ago. Go figure. As well as classic acts like Bush. Oh my gosh. I just heard myself. I called Bush classic. And yes, okay, just because the band is over 25 years old does not make it a classic, because that was my music growing up. So no, it is not a classic. That's new music. Sublime, Steely Dan, Peter Frampton, Weird Al Yankovic, John Denver, The Cranberries, Barry Manilow, and I did go see, I took my mother to this show. I went and saw John Mayer there. It was a fantastic show. Actually did a great job. I'm not a John Mayer fan, but I will give it up to him. The guy knows how to perform. Happy about that. And last but not least, I cannot put out a list of cool venues in Metro Detroit without including the Fisher Theatre in Detroit. And that's a seriously cool building, by the way. Designed by the world famous Albert Kahn, the Fisher Theatre was commissioned by the Fisher brothers, as in like Fisher Body, Fisher Freeway, yeah, that Fisher family. It originally sat 3,500 people and has over 325,000 square feet of marble on the outside, making it the largest marble-clad building in the world. It's 29 stories and originally was supposed to be part of 3 buildings, the biggest one being a 60-story building with apartments and offices. But that plan was scrapped with the Great Depression, and this building was just barely finished before that happened. It started out showing movies and vaudeville shows, but seriously declined in the 1950s and was later renovated, taking out 1,411 seats to what it is now, the 2,089 seats of today. Before the renovation, the Fisher Theatre was decorated like a Mayan temple, not even kidding. And was built to be an even more ornate version of the Fox Theatre. It was really seriously toned down over time. In 1928, the last cool thing I learned is that there are actually underground tunnels connecting the theater to one of the buildings that General Motors owns. Go figure, which used to have shops and restaurants, but at this point have been largely abandoned. The last cool thing that I learned about is that Albert Kahn himself designed the 11-story parking structure. Now this is really cool. He did the very first double helix parking structure, which is used to design parking structures to this day so that cars can be both going up and coming down at the same time. Before this, that was not a thing. You were either going up or you were coming down and you were just in a big traffic jam, right? But cars were just becoming a real popular thing among the masses in the late 20s, so this was definitely a consideration that Albert Kahn had to put in. So this is my list of best venues in Metro Detroit. Which ones did I miss? And share with me in the comment section a favorite memory from any of the venues that I have either named or one of the ones that I didn't name. I'd love to hear more. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.